You've read the books, you've downloaded the systems, you've committed to the routine, and yet nothing sticks. Most personal development fails because people attempt to solve the wrong problem first. They chase optimization before they've built competence. They implement systems before they've established consistency. They're trying to multiply 0 and wondering why the result is still 0. There is a correct order to personal development. When you know the order and know where you're lacking, you'll know where you need to apply your focus and effort. Hey there, it's me, Core, and you're listening to Exercising Self-Control from Fitness to Flourishing. Personal development challenges can be distilled into 3 hierarchical problems. Each one must be solved before the next one becomes solvable. Attempt them out of order, and you'll find yourself struggling no matter how sophisticated the solutions you're using. Get the order right, and even the simplest steps will move you further ahead. The foundational problem is this: you don't do what you said you would do. This isn't about knowledge. You know what needs to be done. This is not about motivation. You want it enough that you're making an effort. This is about action integrity, the alignment between what you commit to and what you execute. When this breaks down, everything collapses. You lose agency, you become reactive, drifting from one impulse to the next. You hesitate. You negotiate with yourself. You become someone who means well but doesn't follow through. And each time you fail to honor a commitment, you lose trust in yourself. Here's the harsh truth. If you cannot consistently follow through on your own commitments, nothing else matters. You cannot build skill without showing up. You cannot test systems without consistency. You cannot form a stable identity without alignment between intention and action. You cannot trust yourself. This is the keystone problem. Solve it, and everything else becomes solvable. Once you've established consistency of action, you encounter the second barrier. You show up, but you're not yet good enough to produce the outcome you want. Skill is not a moral issue. It's mechanical. It develops through repetition, feedback, correction, and exposure to difficulty. There is no shortcut. There's no system that can substitute for the hours spent in the arena, learning through doing. The people who never improve don't necessarily lack talent. Much more likely is they're the ones who start and stop. They never stay in the game long enough to get better. Consistency is the prerequisite for competence. Without it, you are perpetually a beginner. But here's what matters. Competence is solvable. It requires practice, which in turn requires the agency you've already reclaimed by solving the first problem. It goes like this. You show up. You perform poorly. You get feedback. You adjust. You improve. This is not complicated, but it may be slow. The final barrier is this. You are skilled enough to act, but you lack a system to accelerate mastery of that skill. Systems are multipliers. They make growth predictable. They make progress sustainable. They allow you to scale effort and maintain momentum even when chaos arrives and motivation disappears. But here's the critical point. Systems amplify what already exists. They cannot compensate for inconsistency. They cannot substitute for skill. A system built on a foundation of 0 consistency and 0 competence is still 0. This is why so many people burn out trying to optimize. They're attempting to multiply 0. They jump straight to the sophisticated productivity hack, the perfect routine, the optimized schedule. All of this before they've solved the first two problems. And when the system fails, they blame the system, not the foundation. The system is not the problem. Trying to build on a shaky or non-existent foundation, that's the problem. Underlying all three problems is a single meta skill: self-control. Self-control is the capacity to honor your commitments, to act in alignment with your values, to override impulse with intention, to deliberately direct your behavior toward what matters rather than drift toward what's convenient or easy. Master this and you unlock the capacity to build every other skill. You exercise agency. You become trustworthy, both to yourself and to others. You translate potential into reality. Here's how to diagnose where you are. Do you fail because you don't show up? If so, you're facing the primary problem. Regain agency. Establish consistency. Do you show up but perform poorly? You're facing the secondary problem. Build competence. Stay in the game long enough to improve. Do you perform well but fail to sustain or scale it? You're facing the tertiary problem. Design systems. Create the architecture that makes growth predictable. This is the sequence of self-directed growth. This is how you reclaim the direction of your life. Solve the right problem in the right order at the right time, and you become a highly effective human being. Would you like help solving the primary problem? I've built a place for that. On April 2nd, I'm launching a school community called Exercising Self-Control. Inside, you earn your ACT score by stacking days you don't break. Miss a day? It resets to 0. Start your streak, raise your standard, and close the gap between intention and action. Self-control is the meta skill that unlocks everything. The link to join the waitlist is in the show notes. That's it for today. Catch you next time.